Hello, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are playing One Ring, second edition tonight. We are continuing our Waking of Angmar campaign. We had a week off because illnesses struck. They have continued to strike, but as you will hear
really does sound
momentarily,
very different.
Ashley has smoked 50 packs a day for the past week, and
it's just a voice filter. That's all. It's the podcast filter.
I wish it was just a voice filter.
Yeah. So, but she's persevering so we can continue here. So thank you to Ashley for that. Shame on her roommates for bringing the evil COVID into the household. And so we're gonna persevere. We're gonna continue. We ended on a cliffhanger. That we're going to end up actually having to start in a combat, which is fun when you haven't played in 2 weeks to start in a combat. Just kind of get that ready to go as we have been exploring the fortress of Othrengul, which is redundant because whatever. But anyway, that's what we've been doing. We're in Angmar, etc. It has been a rough time. But before I go and get too far down into our summary of recent events, let's do a quick introduction to everybody, who everyone's playing, et cetera, et cetera. At some point, we should probably stop doing these because we're like on episode 38. I feel like everyone kind of knows this by now. But let's just do something quick. So Long, tell us about Floy.
Yes, I'm playing Floy, a treasure hunter from the Blue Mountains. I've got a battle axe, and I'm pretty fancy how I've got my braided beard and my fancy clothes and rings. And that's me.
Kind of dirty though.
Very nice.
Like
Yeah,
we're fancy at one point.
Yeah.
Now I'm a little frozen over.
And
roughed up.
You blew up some of those grimy, icy guys and got spores all over you. So, not that that's going to be a problem. It'll be fine. There's nothing to worry about. You're okay. It's covered. It's in your beard and everything. I think that's how it is. All right. Next up, we've got Gilly Kettlegrass. Ashley, tell us about Gilly.
I'm playing Gilly Kettlegrass. She is our Bree-blooded hobbit, and she's currently weary. She did take her 4th shadow scar last session, and she had a bit of a tiff with Sorendir. Got a little crazy.
You have 4 shadow scars?
I do.
Holy crap. That's that's a lot. Yes, I have long hair now. It's crazy. Okay. Let's see. Next up, Melissa, tell us about Aurinial.
Aurinial has 3 shadow scars and is relatively close to getting a new one, actually. So she is our Ranger of the North champion. She is pretty good with swords and bows, and is potentially looking to be vengeful if things keep going awry in the shadow department, and maybe knock somebody upside the head with the wrong end of the snowshoes.
It's fantastic. Eric, it's so great having long hair, by the way. I love getting out of the car. Like when I went and I saw my sisters over the summer, and I hadn't seen them for a while, and like they hadn't seen me with long hair, and I get out of the car and I'm like doing this with my hair, getting it all fixed. They're like, who the fuck is this guy? Like it was really fun. It was really fun. I really enjoyed it. And then finally we have the man of many titles. We have Sorendir. Go ahead, Steven.
Hello, I'm Steven, and I am playing Sorendir the Twice Broken.
But
wait.
What?
This is not how things are supposed to go. This is not what happens.
You're throwing me off.
Sorendir is broken again. He's covered in blood and mud and scratches all over his face. His spear's been taken from him, and we may be going into a fight, but he has no spirit left.
Okay. Wow. Okay. All right. I'm surprised. Drinker of water, defender of something. Drinker of water is really the only one I ever remember. There's others.
Sorendir the Twice Broken.
Sorendir the Twice Broken. Okay.
From your character earlier today, are you sure that's not like carrying over?
Oh,
I was just thinking like Trent all grown up is Sorendir.
That's true. That's
shed some of that baby weight.
I could see that. Yeah. All right. So you all have journeyed once more into the dead realm of Angmar. You skirted around the edge of it your first time around. You're here now again a year later. And you're on a task that you have been put to by the Lady Ortolos of Forlond, who has told you about this a place called Othrengul that is in the mountains of Angmar, that during the war with Angmar, she and many of the other elves from Forlond were tasked with seeking it out, clearing it, because it was said to be a source of sorcery for the realm of Angmar. But the problem is that they've begun to suffer memory issues, nightmares, dreams, things kind of blending together. And this is something that is very, very concerning to them, of course. And they have tasked you with doing it, and you agreed to do it. You've taken this on, and you've traveled here. You've found Othrengul, which was not an easy task unto itself, just traveling across Angmar, climbing up the mountains. You ran into several issues along the way, and not only that, but you're doing it in the dead of winter, which makes it much more difficult. But you found the entrance, and there was a bit of a riddle, as doors in the middle of nowhere often have riddles in Middle-earth. This one did as well, and then eventually you did solve it. Sorendir, you cut your palm with a Morgul blade. You smeared your blood on the door. These little etched grooves began to absorb that blood, caused this brief glow, and then this mechanism started to churn and allowed entry. The interior of Othrengul covered ice and grime everywhere. Several rooms you found all these different shadowy, grimy figures that were encased in ice. More than once, these figures seemed to kind of move when you weren't observing them actively. Sometimes they shifted, changed, that kind of thing. Floy struck one with an axe, more than once actually, and they burst into these 1,000 tiny pieces, and they started sending these dark spores swirling into the air. Some of you actually breathed that in. While traveling about Sorendir and Gilly, you once more noticed that the shrouded, kind of icy figure atop the elk, dragging that petrified tree limb that was ornamented with bones. It's the second time you've now seen it in Angmar. You found a deep pit that was half filled with what looked like, at least from the edge up top, frozen viscera. You discovered a room with dozens of kneeling, head-bowed elves and humans encased in ice, and an equal number of these white birds that were kind of trapped on top of their heads that looked dead, but then started to activate, to animate, to flap themselves to death once more. You found a giant eagle that was spread across one wall, looked like it was partially dissected and was affixed in some way, coated in ice and grime. And you also found what looked like a torture chamber, some kind of series of strange devices that hinted at bizarre and abhorrent experiments. You found cells nearby that held, written along the walls, stories of captive elves that Sorendir translated, but something strange happened, and then suddenly all of the writing turned to which you presume is dark speech, and temporarily it seemed like Sorendir was able to not just understand it, but speak it. And this kind of caused a very serious rift between Gilly and Sorendir, as Gilly looked for a moment like you had broken the Pearl of Celebrion, but you did not. It was just an illusion. You were not the only ones to struggle. Marimbem has been having some trouble. She's been in this constant state of anger and fear. Elsewhere in the fortress, you found a room of 100 faces carved in ice. Each one of them you recognized as elves from Forlond, including the Lady Ortolos. And hidden behind the sealed lips of each one of these faces was some kind of dark, gnarled seed. Floy, you smashed one of the faces. You kind of looked at the seed itself, but you continued further because you were following this blood trail. And that's when you discover this meeting chamber of some kind, adorned with all this ornate marble table inlaid with like this old map of the kingdoms of Arthedain, Rudour, Cardalin, Angmar. There were alcoves surrounding this place. It was all these different frozen treasures, and detritus was scattered everywhere. And as you were investigating something, this cold breeze began to stir, and what you thought was just debris or trash or old ruins of armor suddenly coalesced around what looked like two figures, visible only because the debris was now circling around them. And that is where we're going to pick up, as we are actually going to have to jump right into combat. So, shall we do it? Are you all ready?
Let's do it.
Okay.
I am troubled and wavering.
Witch Mountain? Should we do Witch Mountain music? Let's do Witch Mountain music. Okay. So.
Return to Witch Mountain or Escape from Witch Mountain?
It's just going to be which mountain. I figure we're in a mountain. This is all tabletop audio stuff. No, this is too adventure-y. I want something darker that's going to result in your deaths.
I was going to say it's going to foreshadow
Let's
our
do
demise.
let's do escape from shadow. Yeah, that's better. That's better. Okay, so all of you, we'll say, are relatively scattered around this room as you were kind of looking around, poking around. None of you are particularly further away from each other than others, so don't worry too much about that. Doing this theater of the mind style. You see these two figures that are, you can tell they are a mixture of the debris from the ground, but you're seeing as this kind of like whirlwind of cold air lifts the detritus off the ground. It starts to form shapes, an arm, legs, torso, heads, these weird kind of icy spiked kind of like pauldrons and helm. And they don't look exactly the same. You can see they form slightly different. It looks like one of them is sort of standing out in front of the other, almost as if in like a kind of a guard position. And you can see that it has what looks like some kind of pitted blade drawn, a spear on the table. It's right next to it as well. The other one is standing a little bit further behind, and you can see like their hand is starting to glow this pale blue, similar in color, Gilly, to some of that kind of greenish blue you've seen before. And their hand kind of comes into this horrible color. All of you feel this sudden horrible iciness in your hearts. I need everybody to roll 2 shadow rolls here. So,
Wait, 2?
yeah. Well, there's 2 creatures here.
The lore master's getting greedy, y'all.
Go ahead.
Don't forget, based off of who are, because I can't talk.
Because we have Lady Ortolas as our
Yes,
patron.
you can spend points.
Fellowship
to get
points,
favored.
which
Mhm.
you are replenished of at the start of the session here. Okay, so
Thank you for the reminder.
you're rolling 2. Both of them are against. One of them is against valor. One of them is against wisdom.
Okay.
Okay. Go right ahead. How's that music, everybody? Is it too loud?
Not to me, but I don't think you're
Sounds
asking
good.
me.
What does Lady Artoris give us?
You can spend hope points.
Hope or fellowship?
You can burn a fellowship to
Sorry.
gain favored on a shadow roll.
Past valor.
Same.
Valor, I have 2. That's for heart, right? Rolled 17, which is exactly enough.
Okay, so you passed your valor. Okay, how did you do against
Wisdom. I need
wisdom?
15. I only did, let's see, the 17 again.
Okay, so you passed on both. Do you have any extra successes in either roll?
My second one, actually, yeah.
Okay, how many?
Just 1. It's a great.
Okay, take a total of 1 shadow point between these 2 rolls, and you passed. You feel ready to go. You can still like this horrible haunting image in front of you of these 2 creatures. You can't see flesh, you can't see bone, you can't see anything. It's as if they are unseen somehow, and this detritus is the only thing that gives them shape. But you do manage to kind of hold firm, so you're okay. Gilly, how'd you do on your sorcery?
I passed both. The first one I got just a regular success. The second I got a great success.
Okay. You are also okay. Great success meaning 1 extra success on the sorcery.
Yeah, a 6.
Same thing as Floy. Then you get 1 point total of shadow, but otherwise you are keeping it together. Irinial, how'd you do on your wisdom, your sorcery?
Exactly the same as Gilly. I passed the first one, and
Okay.
I got a great success on the second.
Same thing, 1 point of shadow, and then finally Sorendir.
I've never passed a valor roll, and I don't think I ever will. So I failed that, but I did pass my wisdom.
Okay. Did you get any extra successes on the wisdom?
No extra successes.
Okay. So you're going to Jesus, man. You're going to take
I just cleared my shadow points with that path down my despair.
That's good because you're going to take a total of 4 points of shadow.
Ooh.
And you feel this coldness settle into your chest, and it doesn't abate the way it does with the rest of you. And you are dismayed as you suddenly feel like it's not like this. It's this icy weight on your chest. It's like the manifestation of hopelessness. You are dismayed. This is it. It's over. Your rolls are ill-favored for the rest of the fight.
I mean, I was already dismayed, but the ill-favored sucks.
Okay.
Oh, goodness.
No.
All right. Now what we'll do, opening volleys. So we're going to play this out the way you normally do. Remember that you also have Talendil and Marimbim are there as well. The way we play it is you can tap into them as a separate bonus. You don't necessarily, I don't run them separately as NPCs, but they're there for any of you to use as a bonus per round. Okay. So who would like to take an opening volley? Like has something like a ranged attack of some kind.
I don't have anything.
Gilly
Okay.
will.
Okay, Gilly, go ahead.
Reniel next.
Gilly, you drop the lantern to the ground. It lands. You hear it echo. Quickly get out the bow, pull it back, and fire. And are you targeting the one with the icy hand, or are you targeting the one with the sword?
The icy hand.
Okay, go right ahead.
Great success.
Okay. And then go ahead and roll damage. Or actually, just tell me damage. I'm sorry. And then what are you doing with your extra success?
I don't have enough to make it piercing, so it's just going to be 8 damage total.
Okay. So you quickly drop the lantern to the ground. Everything's extraordinarily dark in here, so as that drops to the ground, there's a little less light for everybody as it begins to pool around and down. You pull back, you fire, and your arrow seems to slide right between some of this debris that's kind of circling around it, but you hear the sound of pain come out of nothing, like effectively nothing. You just see this kind of empty space where a head should be, and you just hear all right. And then Aurenial, you said you were doing something?
Yeah, so Reniel basically wants to kind of stand right behind where Gilly was and basically like try to take the same shot that she did.
Okay.
Towards the individual with the cold hands. So let's see how I do. That is, I'm gonna have to math that. That it also is a great success.
Okay. So how do you want to handle this?
Let's see. I rolled a 7. So I think I can get to piercing because it's a keen
Yeah.
bow.
Okay. So let me roll. What's the injury total I need on your bow?
14.
Okay. I'm so confident. I'm not even gonna use a hate. That's how confident I am.
See how that works out for you.
Well, I rolled an Iasarans. That's a good start. But even
yes.
without it, I think I would have gotten it. That's 9, 10, 11. I said 14?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm good. Okay. So no
Okay, so then
wounds.
it's
just the
the 3
damage.
damage. Okay, so it's 3.
All right. So a second arrow now is sticking out from this strange figure. Sorendir, are you doing anything?
No.
Okay. Then we will finish with
Is opening combat volley, is that separate than our first round of combat?
opening volleys are completely different.
Could I have in opening volley Talendil start taking some of my arrows and oiling them?
Sure.
Or
No,
is it pushing
no.
it?
I think
Okay.
you're pushing it because you
That's
have to drop the thing and everything, that kind of stuff. Okay. I am going to. I already did my thing, so we'll go ahead and just jump right into combat. All right, so set your stances. Floy, I assuming you're going into forward
As
stance.
forward as possible, yeah.
You're going to go so forward, you're going to go backward. Okay. All right. So set your stance. You guys remember how to do this?
Yeah, but every time we
Yeah.
try, we've never been able to. I don't know if Forge is.
The stance option thing hasn't worked in a bit.
Interesting. Let me zoom in here for a sec. Let me see if I can do it. Yeah, I can't do it either, actually. Usually
I
I
tried
can.
to set my stance and it made me double exhausted.
Oops. That's not the right thing.
Yeah.
It's fine. We kind of know where everyone goes. Floy, you're in forward stance. So Floy, you can see that there's the figure with that pitted blade is sort of trying to intersperse itself. It looks like it's trying to give that icy hand figure in the back some cover. And then you have the one that's a little bit further back. Which one do you want to commit yourself to? Let's set our targets.
Yeah, I'm gonna attack the sword guy here.
Okay, so you'll go. I'll go ahead and move you up. Then who is anybody else in forward stance?
No, sir.
Okay, anybody in an open stance?
Yes.
Reniel, so are you going to go for the sorcerer at that point?
Yes.
Okay. And then Sorendir, who do you want to target? You haven't- either
I'll
one?
probably follow Irenial.
Okay, so the two of you charge in as Floy comes to blows. So he goes charging in and he swings his axe. This icy blade comes and kind of they meet right together in the air. The two of you, Irenial, Sorendir, you climb up on top of the table, bypass, hop down in front, and kind of flank this creature with his icy fists. And then Gilly, you're going to hang back and ranged, I assume.
Yeah.
Rearward stance. Okay, perfect. All right, Floy, you're up, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna raise my ass.
You're gonna raise your ass.
My axe. I'm gonna ask him a question. No, I'm just gonna
Try
stall
to
him real
do-
quick.
Creating a new strategy.
It's like it's like that South Park episode where the cats just keep presenting their asses.
I rolled a 21. Extraordinary success.
Okay. That should still. He has a parry at 2, but that should still be fine. Okay. Extraordinary success. How do you want to handle this?
I'll do double heavy blow. So I'll add 4 total damage to my 7 base. We'll do 21 damage.
21 points of damage. That is a brutal hit, but yet not enough to take this thing down. As you slash through it, it's like your blade is like cracking through ice. You can see it slashing through these bits of metal and like old leather. But then you can feel it slow down as it hits what almost appears like this invisible portion underneath this debris. And you cut and you hear you pull back and you can see it's still standing. It's raising its own this icy pitted blade and looks like it's going to slash it down at you. Let me say hello to Lost Caravan RPG. Thank you for the raid. Very much appreciate it. We're just getting started tonight, playing some One Ring 2nd edition. We're fighting some wraiths and wights and things deep in the frozen mountains of Angmar. Let's see. So that was forward stance. Go to open stance, Aurelio.
All right, so Irenial has switched out from her keen bow to her keen short sword, and she is going to take a swing at the sorcerer in front of her. And that is going to be definitely a success. No Gandalfs or Saurons, and no extra D6s.
And remember that since the two of you, it's 2v1 on this, you do actually get a bonus die for that. Remember that?
Sweet. I did not remember that. I will roll that dice, and I will not get an additional success. So this is 3 damage from my keen short sword.
Okay. 3 total damage.
Correct.
Okay. You slashing away. It's not like it's work. Like you're definitely seeing chunks fly off and out from that swirling kind of like vapor that's coming around them. And you're hearing slight sounds of expulsions of energy and pain, but it's distant and it's muted and it doesn't feel right. And you don't feel like breath coming out from what looks like this shape of the head. As a cowl of kind of old tattered leathers like that are encased in this ice and grime begins to form over top of its head. And it's just sort of like this shadowy bit in the middle. Then you're all done, Eryniel. Sorendir, you're in defensive stance. If you want to go next.
Yes, in defensive stance. And Marimbem still has my great spear. I moved forward and I pull out my short sword, and I'm holding it very loosely in my hand, hesitant to even join in this fight after the rebuke from the party after I lost my mind. But I will just swing forward. Not much power behind it. See how this goes. That is a 7, so I miss.
Okay, so as Eryniel's blow lands, you try to take advantage of it and sort of thrust out with your own blade, but just as quickly as it's able to sort of recapture its stance or its footing from Eryniel's blow, it kind of whirls around, and you can see like it's got its own weaponry. So like in addition to this hand, which is this glowing now icy green blue, this other blade is slowly beginning to form as ice kind of builds on top of it, and it quickly catches your strike before you're able to thrust it. And then we come to Gilly. You're up. No one's used Talondale, so if you want Talondale to start doing that thing with the arrows, it's fine.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Sounds cool.
And then I'll attack while he does that.
Sure. You have free reign of both of them. So are you attacking the one that Floy is on, or are you attacking the one that Sorendir and Eryniel are fighting?
I'll switch to the one that Floy is on.
Okay, go right ahead.
And then since we didn't use Merben, can I just ask her to toss Sorendir his spear?
Sure. So she'll call out. She charges in as well and like takes a hack at the thing, misses, and then just thrust with like this angry tone. "You foolish elf." And she tries to hand that giant. Again, this is a big ass spear. This great spear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how do you do, Gilly?
I passed with a 20.
Okay.
And I had an extra 6.
So you're attacking the one.
The warden.
Okay. Oh yeah, the one that Floy's on. Okay. So it has a parry of 2, which I can't remember if that affects ranged combat or not. Would an increased difficulty of 2 make you miss? I can't remember actually.
No.
Okay, then you're fine. Go ahead. So what do you want to do?
I'm just gonna do 8 damage.
Okay. So as you fire out, this thing hits you. You see it stumble backwards and away from you, Floy. It looks like it's going to fall over top of this like fallen over, broken, ancient chair, like that's part stone, part at this point frozen wood, covered in grime, and it looks like it's about to stumble. And any other figure, legs would have stumbled over it, but instead, as it falls, it kind of almost seems to sort of hover for a moment, swirl, and kind of reform on the other side of the chair itself. As I'm going to burn a hate to use its deathless ability to, when I would have taken a wound, basically, this allows me to ignore that wound and bring myself back up to full endurance. Good times.
Oh, burn the hate. Burn the hate.
Oh, I'll burn that hate.
Don't
Okay.
encourage it.
So
Scared.
their turns. Okay, so we'll start then with Floy. So Floy, you got this what I'm calling warden on you. This thing is going to, as you're its only target, it's going to take 2 swings at you with this pitted blade. You're in forward stance, gets an extra die. It's a D12. 1, 2, 3. I will not burn an extra hate. So first attack, as it lunges now, it kind of just lunges and seems to hover for a moment over top of that chair and thrusts its blade at you. 14, 17, 19?
Yeah, it's enough.
Okay. So that will, no extra 6s, so it's just normal. 4 points of damage on the first attack. Maybe you thought it was down for the count, but it just as quickly lunges forward. And then second attack, that's an extra. That's 14, 18, 19 again, actually, this time with a 6. I will heavy blow, which will make this 9 points of damage on the second attack.
Drop down to 13 turns there.
Okay. So as it thrusts and it's thrown at you, you do your best to stumble back, but then it continues and it just presses the attack even further. Okay. Then the next one will go, the one with that icy wrist. Also with 2 hands, or with 2 attacks, and I will go ahead and put 1 on each. Eryniel, you're open. I'm going to give you the icy touch as it's going to try to reach its hand out, and just you can see as the glow, this sort of icy greenish blue glow as it reaches out to grab you on the arm. It's 3. And I will go ahead and burn a hate to get an extra die. And no, actually, I won't do it for you. I'll just do normal.
Okay.
That's a lot of 6s. 22.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to make this, I'm going to go ahead and use one of these. I'm going to use one of these as a heavy blow. And one of them I'm going to do a wound. So you're going to take a total of 15 points of damage as you feel your shoulder just begin to become solid ice. And then you're also going to have to roll against an injury of only 12. So roll your armor defense check against 12.
And then since it's been a while, don't forget you can knock back.
Knock
to
back.
Take half.
Yeah, I was definitely going to knock back. And it's rounded up, right? So it'd be 8.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm rolling protection from the sheet because I don't remember what it rolls.
Okay. It's your D12 plus whatever your armor rating is.
Okay. It's a 16, which is a success.
Okay. So you are not injured, but you quickly wrench your arm away. You go stumbling back. You fall on top of the table. Remember that large table with the engraved map of the Northern Kingdoms. And you try to sort of re-get your footing, but you're slipping and sliding over top of it as it's marble and metal. And you just feel as your shoulder smashes to the ground, it's almost like it fractures and begins to chip and shard into bits of ice.
Oof.
The second attack will be with the sword. This is going to be on Sorendir. I will burn a hate on this one to counterbalance his protective stance, his defensive stance. And so he's just going to swing the sword at you. It's another good swing. It's 21. And this is 5 points of damage, nothing special. I don't get any bonus damage or anything like that. So just 5 points of damage. As Eryniel leaps away, it turns around towards you since you're closest and just does this horizontal slash right across the middle. That is the end of this round. New round. Any stance changes?
No.
Okay. Remember, Eryniel, you basically have to spend your turn stumbling back into the fight. Otherwise, Floy, you're up. This thing is taking a couple swings at you. What would you like to do?
Yeah, I brace against his double strike, and I yell back to him, Baruch Hazad, pretty much tapping my virtue here. So once per combat, I'll be able to roll my next attack at favored.
Oh, beautiful.
And then I can make Intimidate Foe as a secondary action.
Okay, go right ahead. So let's start with your attack, and then we'll worry about the other thing.
Let's see. 25. Great success.
Yeah. Okay.
That'll be 14 on the heavy blow.
Oh, dear. Okay. He's still up again.
Then I can do my awe for Intimidator.
Okay, go right ahead.
Let's see. That's a great success. But if he's not Might 2, I don't think it affects him.
He is, in fact, Might 2. However, he is heartless, which means he is not actually affected by the Intimidate Foe combat task unless a magical success is obtained. Do you have anything that lets you do that?
No, I don't have anything like that.
Okay. So as you kind of shout in awe, you push out this sort of dwarven war chant. It sort of turns back, and you can see again as that debris is beginning to form into like a helm of some kind, this stitched together metal, frozen, grimy helm. And you just hear what almost sounds like laughter, like echoing out, as if it's being listened to down a very distant hall. Dwarf. And it does not seem to be affected by it, but it is affected by your attack, so it did take the damage. Okay. Open stance, Eryniel, you're just going to scramble up, I assume?
Yeah, sorry, I want to do...
Don't forget, Marimbem is also usable each round.
Yeah, I want to get myself into defensive because I think I want to do battle next time.
Okay, that's fine. You can switch into defensive. That's fine.
Yeah, because I basically can't do anything.
Yeah, you
'Cause
switch
I'm just
into.
getting up,
You're
so-
basically just stumbling and recovering ground. Is essentially what you're doing in this fight.
Yep.
Okay, so you move on up. You're back into so you're in defensive. Sorendir comes to you, defensive stance.
Since she's back, do I get the D6 again for flanking?
I'll give it to you anyway. Because like Marimbem's up there and everything. So I would say there's three of you on this one because you guys last used Marimbem. So
Okay, that is my only D6 as I roll here.
You should use Marimbem.
I don't think. I think mechanically, yes. I don't think Sorendir would have the presence of mind to be commanding her.
okay.
So I rolled a Gandalf and a Sauron, and I'm ill-favored, so I believe the Sauron wins.
Yeah. Not only that.
Oh,
You swing out and like there's this rapid shift, like Sorendir is moving with great alacrity and great speed, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. But each time without any effort, this creature is just very quickly parrying. And just when it looks like Sorendir is about to overtake, from these different alcoves and these different hallways, you suddenly see like it's like a dam has burst and water just like rushes in. It's this thick and heavy icy fog just pours over all of you, and you feel like this sudden and terrible shiver as all of you begin to you almost feel like paralyzed for a moment. But then as that fog dissipates, Sorendir, you see standing next to you, in addition to this creature, you see one of those icy, grimy looking figures that you've seen throughout. It's just shadow encased in ice, spiked shoulders, spiked angles by the joints and things like that. And it looks like it's slowly kind of moving, like it's coming at you. Not only that, as you look around, others like Floy and Gilly and Eryniel, you see like all of you are covered in like icicles trickling from your beard, your hair. You can see your eyes now are your eyebrows are now covered in ice. And many of you have those really kind of pointed ice spikes here and there throughout your body, as this new figure has joined into the fray.
Sorendir turns around seeing this and just whispers, E38.
We go to Gilly. There's now a new kid on the block.
Yeah.
It is right behind Sorendir and is like thrusting out at Sorendir with this. You're not sure if it's a sword or just like a very long icicle.
Yeah, she's gonna take one of those fire arrows and shoot at that one.
Yeah, go right ahead. Yeah, no extra parry on this, so it's just whatever you normally do.
$19, and I got 2 6s.
Yep, I have no extra parry, so whatever your attack is. Yeah, go ahead and roll your damage. Or tell me how you're using your damage. I keep saying real damage. How you damage this one?
I'd like to give it make it do an injury roll.
Okay, so you're high enough on your D12 to get a pierce out of this?
Okay, so I have to be. What do I have to get to for pierce?
So, yeah, it's 10 unless you have a keen weapon, and then it goes down to 9, I think.
Okay, yeah, no, I just missed it. So never mind.
Each great success, I think you can add each additional success, I think you can add 2 to it. So what did you roll in the D12?
I got a 7.
Okay, so if you burnt both of your D6s, your extra ones on pierces, you get a +2 because you're using bows for each. So that would be, it would move you up to an 11 basically. So yeah, you could do a pierce.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that then.
Okay, so that means it has to roll for an injury.
16 is your target.
Okay, it does have some armor. Oh boy, 9, 11. That's going to be 13.
I needed my rating's a 16.
So it appears as you shoot this arrow at it, covered in a small bit of flame, handed to you by Talendil. It appears at first like this thing shatters. Like you see the ice begin to shatter and drip down to the ground. But then just as quickly as it shatters in the back where you shoot it, you can see it kind of begin to reform itself. As I will burn a point of hate to activate its deathless ability whenever. And so I burn through hate. It's still up. Okay. It is now their turn. I will start once more with the Warden, who's going to take 2 shots at Floy. Once more, it's going to swing both times with its blade. You are still in forward stance, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's 9 + 9, 18.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 18 will hit. No extra, nothing fancy as middling rolls. So 4 points of damage on the first. Second swing. That's a Gandalf. Urgh.
Nice.
However, I did roll decently. It's not an automatic. It's not an automatic fail. 16.
It's still enough.
Still enough. Another 4 points of damage.
Once again, I'll just take those blows.
Okay. Then the sorcerer figure will go next. Once more, I will split my targets. This time I will go. You're both in defensive stance, correct?
Correct.
Yep.
I will burn basically a hate apiece. So I'm burning 2 total hate, so I can cancel that out effectively. This time I'll switch it up. Icy Touch goes towards Sorendir now. That's an Eye of Sauron.
That means you automatically fail.
That's not how it works. I don't have any extra successes, so it's only 6 points of damage. And then the sword then will turn around at a charging Auriniel who's getting back into the fight. Oh, God, that's awful. That's only an 11, so I'm assuming that's no good.
Correct.
So swings at you, but you have, like, this time you're in defensive stance. Do you have, like, a shield up or anything, or are you just parrying?
Just parrying.
Okay,
Yeah, I
so
don't carry a shield.
Carry it away. Okay. And then the new kid on the block, I will 50-50 this one to see who it attacks. Actually, no, it's going to go Sorendir. That's what it was. Let's go Sorendir. You are in defensive stance. I'll drop one of these D6s. I'm not going to burn any extra hate. These don't have a ton. It's a miss. So they don't, it's an 8. So they don't hit you. But it is in there. All right. New round. Floy has his hands full with this other figure who just won't die, and the rest of you are kind of trying to swarm around this figure that seems to be casting some kind of icy spell. When this figure of ice and grime that you've seen so often is now kind of moving in this sort of zoetrope fashion, like this kind of jiggery movement, reaching out to try to attack Sorendir, but is unsuccessful in doing so. Any changes to stances?
We have to change targets then, don't we, to pair off?
No, I mean, right now, actually, yes, one of you would have, you're right, thank you for telling me that. One of you would actually have to turn and target that.
Sorendir would just kind of be wavering between, so it's whatever Auriniel goes towards.
Okay.
He would go towards the opposite.
Floy, you're good with everything where you're at? Stance? Yeah. Okay. Gilly, are you still good in rearward?
Yeah.
Auriniel, do you want to stay on the sorcerer or do you want to turn to this new figure?
I'll stay on the sorcerer.
Okay, so you stay on the sorcerer, which means Sorendir will move then to this echo. Where you go to Floy.
Disregarding my safety here, I'm just gonna start whirlwinding this guy.
I love how you're just so ridiculously balls to the wall.
Let's say that's 18.
It's up to it's your. He has a. He actually has a parry of 2.
I still pass then.
Okay, you're good.
No extra success. It'll be 7 damage.
Okay, 7 points of damage. Okay, and you did 14 last time.
Yeah.
No one else did any damage to him. He's still up without me having to burn anything.
Then I'm gonna burn 5 audience assistants here for another action.
Got it.
It's a new thing we're adding. So when the audience, they give us a bunch of boosts. 100 bits gives us a boost. If 100 just spending one of those boosts usually gets a bonus die. But then we're doing a new thing where if they burn 5 of them, they can get an extra action in combat.
Got a 20 this time, so another hit.
Still good.
Your 7.
Your damage is certainly enough because he was at 3 endurance. Let me see if I can use this more than once. Are you wielding a magical weapon enchanted with spells for the Bane of the Undead?
No, it's just good old steel.
You once more, as it looks like it's going to collapse, but it is just unending, and it will,
Oh, jeez.
like the Terminator, come at you. Okay.
That's not good.
You are doing a ton of damage to it. These things are just very hard to kill, or at least very hard to take out the fight. We're going to go over Erniel. Are you still in open?
I switched to defensive.
Okay, so both of you are in defense. So Sorendir or Erniel, in whatever order you want. In Faradrift, thank you so much for those bits.
Erniel would like to go first. Erniel is in defensive, and so she is going to. So she heard, sort of a little prayer from Sorendir, and so she is going to do the defensive stance combat task of protect companion. So I'm making a battle roll, and because I have Argleb's helm, I get a plus 2d6 on that, and it is favored. So hopefully I will do well with that.
Too old to Twitch. Thanks, man. They're going to need it. This is a tough fight.
Yeah. All right. So
very tough.
This went well. So I got a great success, which means that for the next attack aimed at Sorendir, there is 2 dice that are lost.
Okay, so I have -2. Okay. Keep me honest when it comes to my turn. Remind me of that when it's time.
And I am going to copycat Long, and I'm going to take 5.
Shantan Rizzini, thank you so much. We got
my goodness.
That's I think 9 total.
Add those back in.
Yeah, we have 9 total over the last minute or so.
Yeah, and we had some leftovers from last session, so I'm gonna hold off on that math. So I will also do an attack then. So combat task for 1 action, and then other action with my sword.
Okay. Go for it.
Let me readjust here. It is not favored, and I don't have that dice. So let's see how this goes. I gotta do some math. Did I make it? Did I make it? I just made it. No extra successes.
No parry on the sorcerer, so you're okay.
All right. So I don't think it's going to do anything because it's just the 3 damage.
I mean, it chips away. I mean, it's not. The damage is certainly going through. It's not like you're getting a sense that it's somehow invulnerable to your attacks. You periodically hear again that distant expulsion of pain or something like that, but it doesn't seem to slow them down.
Okay.
All right. Sorendir, you're up.
So that last hit from the sorcerer really took the wind out of me, and I yank my helm off and drop it to the ground just so I can try to get some air. I'm still weary even after dropping that. I will take an audience die for an extra d6 so that I at least have 1 d6.
Got it.
That is a 6 total.
So
I'm sorry, I'm ill-favored, so that's a 4 total.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
And again, let me know if you all end up with an Aya Sauron on the feat die that you keep. Let me know, as it will come into play this time around. Okay. as you have already seen. So you swing out at this thing, and you manage to stab it. Like you thrust the spear through it. It's not like these things are
Sword.
moving. It's a sword. I'm sorry. I thought you were using the spear. But as you pull it, like you stab through it and you yank it out, but it doesn't shatter the way you've seen Floy manage to kind of shatter this creature. And so you're not sure it had any real effect. Okay. Gilly comes to you.
I'm gonna take another fire arrow, but I'm gonna go after the warden.
Okay. Go right ahead.
I pass, even with the +2. But I didn't get any extra 6s or anything, so it's just 4 damage.
Just 4. Okay. 4 is still 4 damage. Okay. Thank you. All right. And again, make sure you call out when you're using Talendale or Marimbem to give yourselves a bonus. Their turn. So this time, again, I'm going to start with the warden, who is over on Floy. Same thing I've done before. It's going to continue to swing away. I'm not going to use any bonus die or anything like that. I'm not going to expend any hate. But I'm just going to swing. So you were in forward again still, right?
Yep.
All right. Emily Entropy, thank you so much for the raid. Definitely appreciate it. We are playing One Ring, 2nd edition right now. We are in a battle with Wraiths in the middle of an icy fortress in the ruins of Angmar right now. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, gosh. That's so good.
Oh, no.
No, it's not. I'm sorry. That's a 2, not a 5. So it's 11, 15, 17.
Yep.
Okay, 17, and I did get 1 6. I'm going to heavy blow. That's 9 points of damage.
9. I will knock back.
Okay. So you stumble back, which actually I'm going to say means that the second swipe is just going to miss because you have pushed yourself away. So as it swings down for the second strike, you are not there for the second swing, and you stumble back. Next up, it's going to be the sorcerer. At this point, I only have 1 target. So both of its attacks are going to go towards Aurinial. It's going to reach out once more with its icy touch. You're in defensive stance, correct?
Yes, I am in defensive.
All right, I'm going to play it straight up with the icy touch. That's a Gandalf, so it's going to be a 5. That'll be a miss with the icy touch. I will burn a hate to get an extra die for the ancient sword. As it swings the sword at you. This one's got a much higher injury die. That's why I'm doing that. So I freaking rolled another Gandalf. That's a 10 total.
No.
So both of them miss. And then finally, this echo of Othrin Gull with its icy blade will attack Sorendir. Sorendir, you are in defensive as well. I'm going to go ahead and just roll it straight up. That's a 15.
Let me double check because, sorry, dog yawning.
No worries.
19 parry right now.
Okay. The icy blade is too slow. You're able to easily parry it away. No hits for me on this round, actually.
Oh, man.
I got the 1 hit on Floyd, but he did leap back. All right. New round. Any stance changes?
No.
Yeah, Aurinial will switch to open.
I need a defense here, I think.
Okay, so Floyd, you're going to go into the defensive stance. Sorendir still in defensive. Gilly, you're still in rearward. Yeah, the D12 was doing really well with me until that last roll, Eric. I was getting a lot of high numbers on the D12, but now, last time, I don't like seeing it. So that means it's up. You're up first, Aurinial, as you're in open stance.
Okay. I am going to try to attack this thing. I'm still going after this sorcerer. Still using my sword here and seeing what I can do. So right now everybody knows we're sitting at 9. I'm going to take 1, only 1 to put us at 8. So somebody can still do a 5 if they want to, just to give me an extra, so that I'm rolling 4 d6s instead of 3 with my sword. And let's see. Okay. That is an extraordinary success.
There you go. You guys needed this. All right.
Did.
What do you want to do?
So let me just double check my so I rolled a 3 on the D12, so there's no possible way that I can get that to a
Okay.
pierce. So
Just
sorry,
have-
I'm just running back through.
3 heavy blows, I think, probably makes the most sense.
Yeah. I
So-
think that probably makes the most sense.
What's your-
so
what's your
my
strength?
strength score is 7
Times 3 is 21.
plus 3 is 24.
You do 24 points of damage.
Yes, Auriniel does. She is just, this thing just kind of keeps going after her, and she's just looking for that torque in the swing. And that's what you kind of see with the short sword.
You like swing almost through it like baseball style, and it feels like you actually bifurcate this thing right in half as it you hear this terrible scream, and it kind of flies through you, swirls around for a bit, kind of slides over top of the table, but it kind of turns around and it looks right at you. You can see some of the debris is having trouble swirling around and keeping its shape, but it is still up. And I didn't actually have to burn any hate for it, but it is looking pretty rough.
All right.
All right, so then we go to defensive stance. We've got Floy and Sorendir.
I've got to recover from knockback here. So just
You stumble up. You're in defensive stance now. Okay, Sorendir, you're still up. Marinben has not been used. I want to point this out. I know that you said that you don't feel like ordering her around, but you don't have to flavor it that way. You can just flavor it as she's doing something and you're playing off her. Trying to help you guys out.
Yeah, we do keep
I
forgetting that.
appreciate that. I am going to use an audience die for a D6 again.
Okay.
Okay.
Still don't want to use Marambim because I'm stubborn.
Somebody's got to
Switching up my dice.
Fair enough.
And that is it's ill-favored. So it's either a 1 or a Sauron.
Soren would be worse.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
figured.
Still a 1 for the total, but worse.
She's stabbing
We're
at this
fucked.
thing, and you see once more fog begins to erupt into the room. And when you look up, Sorendir, you see that it is not just one of these creatures that has begun to surround you. It is 2. As a second one of these icy, grimy figures has now its hand rested right on top of your shoulder. Everybody else, you're coated now in ice. You can feel as you're moving, your limbs are getting more sluggish. Gilly, what would you like to do?
Is Talendale ready with those arrows yet?
He has been handing them to her
Yeah, he's
over and
not
over
been
again.
using him.
Yeah.
All right.
And
I'm
when
gonna-
when it actually does something, I will let you know.
I'm gonna attack the warden again.
We should have had Marimbem go when Floy was getting up from knockback.
I got a Gandalf and 2 extra successes.
Uh-huh. What's the total damage?
Oh God.
So you're
Well,
based
can I do an injury and then
Okay. What did you roll on the D12?
I got a Gandalf.
Okay, so you got a Gandalf, so you can do it. Yeah, so that'll be a piercing roll, and then you can do the heavy blows.
Okay.
So he's got 2 armor. I will burn a hate to get an extra. To get an
And I
extra.
did 12 damage.
1 sec. Let me do this first. So I'm gonna burn an extra hate, so I can burn a hate to get an extra die on my protection roll. Oh, 16. What do I need?
16.
Oh my gosh, 10 4, 2 1s. Okay, so I barely got it. I'm so glad I picked that extra die. And then you said 12 points of damage.
12. Yeah.
Okay, it's still up. I'm kicking, but it
God
is.
damn.
You're wearing it down significantly. Okay. Their turn. Warden.
Uh-oh.
land hit him
Uh-oh.
going down there.
Warden will
No.
go. Warden will go after Floy. The good news is I'm very low on hate on him, so I can't actually burn any extras. Yeah, I'm not going to burn any extras on you, so I'm just going to be rolling a d12 and 2 d6s against you, but I do get two attacks. First attack. That's only an 11, so that's probably going to miss.
Yeah.
Because you are in defensive stance, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Second attack. Eye of Sauron. So that's going to be a hit. No extra die. Okay. Go ahead and roll injury versus. Hang on. Where the hell did it go?
Protection?
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I don't have any extra successes. You're going to take 4 points of damage on the second attack.
I'm going to collapse here.
You go down?
Yeah.
What if you do knockback again?
That's not enough. I had 1 endurance.
Oh no.
Floyd's down. You guys are so screwed. So screwed. Okay.
But Jeff, I've been doing so much damage.
So screwed.
Oh no.
Floy falls. It has been a fairly intense, I would say, 1v1, if not for all of the arrows that are sticking out of this warden. Otherwise, it was an honorable fight, except for that hobbit in the back. And the dwarf falls. We switch over then towards the sorcerer. Icy Hands will continue its assault on Auriniel. All right. I'm just going to do it. Auriniel, you're in protection? You're in a defensive stance, I mean? Or open?
I feel like I switched
She was
to
in
open.
defensive. Did you switch?
I think she switched to open because she
Yeah,
went first.
I know I didn't penalize my dice, so I must have been an open.
Sword and Icy Touch. I will burn. I hate to get an extra die on the sword attack, but on the Icy Touch, I will do normal. First attack. Another freaking Gandalf. 13 to hit.
Mm-mm.
All right. Second attack. I'm burning the hate on this one to get the extra die. This is on the sword. Oh, God. So many ones. 11, 13, 16 to hit.
That's exactly right.
I do have 1/6. I can't do anything special, so I'm just going to do heavy blow. 14 points of damage.
Oh, Auriniel is going to kind of staunch herself and get knocked back.
Okay. So 7 points of damage. This is an attribute level 9 creature, which means that when I do heavy blow, I get its attribute level and extra damage. So it's 5 damage on the sword plus 9 for the attribute level, which gives it 14. Okay. You guys aren't looking too good right now. Next up, we've got Sorendir. You are in defensive stance.
Correct.
These do now outnumber you 2-1, so that'll cancel out that. God, another freaking Gandalf. So first one swings at you, misses. Second one, another freaking Gandalf. Go away, Gandalf. You're not in this movie. So yeah, they were both single digits without Gandalf. So you're clear. New round. So does something happen? I'm trying to remember. Does something happen when your fellowship focus goes down? Does that sound familiar?
I took a shadow point.
Thank you very much.
When your fellowship focus gets an injury.
Which was what would happen, I believe, because he went to 0 endurance.
Yeah.
Just go unconscious. I don't get an injury or anything.
Yes.
I think isn't it when you reduce to 0, don't you take an injury?
I was looking at the rules. It's just unconscious unless I'm
Okay.
hit again or something.
No, that's fine. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been a while. That's fine. If you looked it up, you're cool. I trust you. All right. So at this point, we're going to have to shift as we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 enemies. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You guys can still figure out your targets because there is Marimbeb and Talendil. So Auriniel, you're having to recover, but you're going to step up towards the sorcerer again.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we've got. So if you're on the sorcerer, then Sorendir, do you want to go towards the warden, or do you want to stay on one of these two echoes here?
I would rather be on an echo than a warden. Yes.
Okay. So that someone has to charge in on that. So I can put an NPC on it. That's fine. If you want to put an NPC on it, I will do that. Marambem will step over, and that means no one can use Marambem, since Marambem is now is going to tank up this warden. Okay. Is anybody in open stance? Okay. Defensive stance. Aurenial, you're just closing the distance. Sorendir, you're up next. Talondale's still in the fight to be used.
All right. Using another audience die, although I don't know why I'm wasting them.
Yeah, and I'm also going to take a turn with them, by the way.
I did roll a Gandalf, but it's ill-favored, so it ends up being an 8.
Okay. That is no good, my friend, unfortunately.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I'm assuming it's up to your stats, but that shouldn't be good, I would imagine.
No.
Okay. Aurenial stumbles up.
Yes.
Gilly.
I'm going to spend.
Oh,
5 on
okay.
this
So you can take an
to
attack.
actually do a thing. Yeah, we need to.
Okay.
So I need to finish this sorcerer. That's going to be the goal.
Mm-hmm.
For crying out loud. Singing, we said that singing the song was in sorry, like a secondary action, so like you can sing the song.
Yes, singing is a secondary.
Oh,
Okay.
right. Yeah. We talked about that.
Okay. So I don't know if that counts because I'm kind of moving and doing.
No, it's fine. Your normal main action is going to be recover. Your secondary action will be to sing, and then your burning audience die to take a second attack. That's fine.
All right.
Or second action, I should say.
Oh, I hope I succeed at this. Oh, oh gosh. I feel like this is a bad idea. All right. Please. No, I missed it by 1.
That's a shame.
So mad. So very mad. All right, sword. Like I'm trying to sing and I'm just so mad and it's just not working. So now I'm really trying to get rid of the sorcerer. And oh my gosh, what is with these dice?
Whoa. Those are our friends at Norris Foundry there, Melissa. Hang on.
I understand. They are beautiful as they show me lots of 1s and 2s and 3s.
Are you trying to say that they're only good at looking pretty? Like you're trying to say there's no depth to these dice, Melissa? Is that what you're saying? I hope Eric stepped away from the computer right now. Otherwise, the offense he would be. Oh my
gosh. This was all I did was move. So this worked out just as, oh my gosh. Yeah, I failed. I tried to sing and I was useless in my singing. And then I tried to swing a sword at this thing. And I like banged my sword on the table or something. Cause
Sorendir, have you gone yet? I don't even remember. You missed, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I went.
Gilly. Marambem is standing over top of Floy, trying to protect him, but she is clearly having trouble with this warden. You see Aurenial stumble forward, blood pouring down from everybody here. Blood, sweat, ice, grime. The light of your lantern is getting dimmer and dimmer. It's getting darker and darker in here. None of them have fallen. What do you want to do, Gilly?
She's gonna shoot still at the warden.
Okay.
Well,
Hey, everybody. Twitch is telling me that you're supposed to follow us. It's giving me that whole reminder. This would be a good time to remind viewers to follow you so they can catch your next stream.
Thanks, Twitch.
maybe
Thanks, Twitch.
I'm doing the sorcerer.
Okay. You're switching to the sorcerer. Okay. No bonus parry to this one, so
Okay.
do your attack.
And I took Talendel. I got a 10 on my thing,
Okay.
and I got a 6 and a 5.
Okay.
And so I pass. So I'm going to do an injury, and then does that eat up my 6 to do the injury?
So you're attacking the sorcerer. What's the damage on your bow?
4.
Okay.
I have a grievous spell bow.
Okay. So here's what we'll say. Your damage alone, it actually has 4 health. So your damage alone will reduce it to 0.
Mm-hmm.
It'll burn a hate to do its deathless. Okay. Then you're doing a wound as well. You're doing a piercing blow. Okay.
Yeah.
So now I'll roll for injury against it. What's my target?
16.
I will burn a hate. I'm getting low on that. I will burn a hate. Right. 16, huh? Feel really good about this one.
Please don't.
Yeah, I got it. That is 17, 22, 25, 27. He's not wounded. However, very low on hate. He's feeling better. He's feeling okay about himself. The hate starting to leave. I wasn't going to pull my punches for this combat, and this is what happens when I don't pull my punches.
We're all gonna die.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting a TPK today.
Neither was I.
I mean, we can run. That is in the rules.
Exactly. I mean, Floyd can't. All right. The Warden will attack twice against Marimbem. I do have stats for Marimbem, so I'm going to go ahead and attack twice on Marimbem as it still has 2 might. First attack will hit. Second attack, that'll miss. So 1 attack will be good on Marimbem. She is not down. The 2 echoes will attack the Sorendir over here with his defensive stance. 17.
Parry 19.
Okay, no good. Oh, God, 19. That's even less. So you're fine. And here's the big one. Here's the big one. I don't have any extra hate, so I got to conserve my hate now. I'm going to try something. It would be easy for me. I'm going to spend 1 point of hate to make 1 player hero gain 3 shadow points. I'm going to, as it's standing next to Eryniel, I'm going to use its dreadful spell ability. So I'm going to burn a hate. And Eryniel, you hear a familiar sound begin to sort of emerge. And you understand some of it. And for a moment, in the shadow of its face, you see this, you almost see this kind of glowing contours of a nose, of cheekbones, but no eyes. Go ahead and roll a song test.
Just did one of those and did horribly at it.
You better pass this one.
I don't.
I'm just going to say, John Maxuda just gave us 3 more boosts. You really want to pass this one. I know you want to pass all of them, but just trust me.
So I can spend a fellowship to make it favored?
Yeah.
All right, I will do that. And I can take 1 or 2.
However many you want.
1 audience die.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
What? Okay.
What did you ask? I don't really
Just
listen.
one at a time. Just one at a time.
One at a time. You spend
Yeah.
you can either take a die or you can
Yeah,
spend 5
okay.
or whatever. Yeah.
All right. All right. Yeah, that's a success. 10, a 4, and a 1.
Okay. You will, however, take 2 points of shadow. You pass, but this is a 3 shadow point thing, so that your pass will deplete 1. But since you didn't get any extra successes, you'll take 2 more shadow points. You feel yourself get very just drowsy and exhausted. You feel your legs begin to shake as the ice is kind of overcoming it, almost like an icy death. But you quickly shake it off, and you do not fall unconscious, which is what would have happened if you failed. Okay, unless you're miserable. Are you miserable?
I am now miserable as a result of that.
As a result, you're fine. Yeah, you're fine.
And now my shadow score equals my max hope score.
Which means...
A bout of madness.
Okay.
You can wait on that,
Yeah.
but you're ill-favored until you role play it out.
Okay. So that's its turn. And that is the end of the round because I missed on my swings on Sorendir. Marambim's getting wrecked. Come to the new round. It's looking horrific right now. What stance are you in, Aurelian?
Sorry, I'm trying to figure out if I'm having a bout of madness at the moment.
What stance are you in, Sorendir?
Defensive. I would like to change engagement though,
Okay.
and I will move on to the warden.
Okay. Moving on over. Okay. So I feel like one of these echoes will go on to Aurelian probably, and one of them will go on
Sorry,
to...
Aurelian.
We'll split it up. They're not very strong, but like they're kind of irritating. Okay. So are you still in defensive, Sorendir?
Yes.
Okay.
And I would probably be yelling something along the lines of "We're all doomed. We're all doomed."
Okay. Aurelian, have you figured out what you need to do?
I'll wait till we're at the combat. And I'll just be ill-favored.
Okay. What stance are you in?
Defensive.
All right. So you both are in defensive. Gilly, are you staying back in rearward?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we running? Is that...
They
Yes.
just... Sorendir just charged up.
That's true.
Floy is on the ground. Comes to you guys. Sorendir or Aurelian, whatever order you want. You're both in the same stance.
I'll go first if that's okay. I charged over here to yell at Marambim, grab Floy and go. Could I use her that way to get her to drag him out?
Ooh. Yes. I feel
But you
like
don't want me
I
to?
kind of want a battle test here because you did mention
Okay,
earlier.
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Can you?
Um,
I mean, a battle. I think a battle makes the most sense as you're kind of shouting an order. Like,
Yeah, I'm trying to find battle in my sheet because I've never actually rolled this before.
Bottom-
Yep, 0 pips.
bottom middle.
Still ill favored.
You're. Yeah, you're still dismayed.
Yeah, and I need an 18, so I need a
Yeah.
double Gandalf here for this to work.
You got this, buddy.
We have 8. We have 8 if you want to take 5 so that you're not rolling it ill-favored.
I did just roll. I'm sorry. It was a 10 and a 1 anyways. I would have never, even if I wasn't, I wouldn't have rolled the Gandalf.
You shout at her to do that. She looks towards you with rage and hate and fear all in her face. She's coated in this ice and grime. Blood is coming down. And she says with a great amount of venom in your direction, Sorendir, I don't flee from a fight like some people, coward. And she turns back to face this figure. I will say we can make that your secondary action if you want, and I'll give you a main action still.
Okay. This time I will take the 5 audience dice to cancel out ill-favored.
Okay.
Would it would be -1 still because I'm defensive as well. I'm not going to spend the audience die no matter what.
That
I need a
ill
Gandalf.
favor's been such
Yeah,
I
a
know. It was rough.
Take those 5 back. I'm not
inconvenience.
going to spend them. There is a Gandalf and a 4, so I got a 4.
Oh, okay. A 4 on the D12. Okay. What's your total?
A 4.
Okay. Okay. It's a miss.
I was hoping if I could just get lucky on this guy for a little bit of, I don't know.
He is not looking great. However, he is might 2. So he is slowing down, but I have burnt a lot of their resources, but they are still up. They are certainly in better condition than you are, but they are not in good condition. Auriniel, your turn.
All right. No, never mind. I already did that. I'm here.
Surrender is breaking and will run soon. Just throwing that out there.
Well, I've got to try to finish off this sorcerer. Yeah.
You guys really need to do wounds. Wounds is what you need. Endurance damage is nice, but it's slow. Wounds are how you kill quickly.
You tell me that, but
Requires dice
there's no way for me to
rolling
roll.
a particular
Look,
way.
it's not my fault you made a mechanically poor character.
The hard part here is not having my spear. That's what I'm used to using.
Mayor
You
Ben
have it.
gave it to you.
You've had it this
I know,
first
but
round.
I'm role playing my character. He would not try to grab a spear from that angry
You're
old woman.
role playing killing all of us is what you're doing.
She dropped it on the
You've had
ground.
the
It's just
spear.
rolling on the ground at this point. She's not using it. She doesn't use that.
What my character would do.
That's nice. I hope you sleep well at night with that. I'm doing adding. I don't have any extra sixes. So I am yet again just doing 3. Yep. There's no extra sixes, so it's just 3.
I'm sorry, is that a miss? Or is it
No, it's a
just 3 points of damage? Okay.
yeah.
All right. That is damage.
You could, instead of doing that 3 points of damage, use that to run. Because you have to, if you're in defensive, you need a successful attack to retreat.
So if you want to retreat, leaving Floyd to die.
Grab him on the way.
He's kind of heavy. He's been drinking a lot of goat milk lately. Okay.
Carrying all that treasure.
All right. Gilly. Talendale has been with you the whole time. He's been feeding you arrows.
Mhm.
Do you want to send him into the fight, or do you want to have him continue to give you the +1 on your shots? It's up to you. You're killing independent radio. Oh, God. I hear it in the George Costanza voice.
What?
Australis.
The chat.
You're killing
Yeah.
independent radio.
Can I send him to go assist Floy?
So, do you want to send him in to drag Floy away? Floy's down,
Yeah.
so all you can really
Yeah.
do. I am perfectly fine with that. Talendil, I think, would be more receptive to this. Marimbem, as we all know, has been established, is a bit whatever. So we'll say, don't take your extra die then. We'll say,
Yep, I already removed it.
Talendil is scooping up Floy.
We have 2 extra dice if you want to regain your extra dice that way.
And he'll also be shouting at Marimbem as he comes up, like
Yeah.
trying to get her to back away too. That doesn't seem to be working.
Yeah, I mean, as my secondary action.
No, that's not your action. Remember, that's just us using the
Yeah,
NPCs.
yeah.
So you still have your
So-
actions.
But I mean, I'm gonna move towards them a little bit, like towards the exit, and
Okay.
then I'm gonna shoot the guardian guy or warden again.
Okay. Go right ahead.
Okay, that is a 10 and no extra successes.
It's your total damage.
Well, if I get a 10, can I, or do I need a 6 to get an injury?
10 is a piercing, actually.
Yeah, so I'd like you to roll for a wound, please.
Well, let me know your. They have 2 might, so you actually do need 2 wounds to kill them. So I still need to know your damage.
18.
Is
don't-
it 4
Or
on your bow?
no, 4. I
I
mean,
think it's 4.
sorry.
Okay, I was gonna say 18 points of damage. That's an OP bow.
No.
Okay, so he is not down from your damage, but he could be down from the pierce. I am not going to burn any extra die on this armor because I am running out of hate. So I'm just going to hope I can do it. I cannot. That's a 12. So he does take a wound.
Okay.
It's not put him down.
Yeah.
Does put him, because they're might 2. So
Mhm.
he now moves down to might 1, which also means he only gets 1 attack now. And he's very low on endurance. So this guy's almost down.
Okay.
And Sorcerer, on the other hand, okay.
That's the sorcerer was almost down.
Sorcerer was down, but then I used the Deathless ability to come whoop back up. That's part of this. That's one of their abilities. It's an undead thing. You would know this, Ranger. Come on. Okay. So it now has 1 attack only, and I have 2 targets potentially. Let's see who I attack. 1 to 3. It's Sorendir. So it's going to swing out at Sorendir. Charges in. All right. Are you in defensive still?
Yes.
It's no good because it's 18 or something I need, or 19.
19.
Yeah, it's a 17. It's no good. So he swings at you ineffectually. Yeah, the warden has significantly slowed down. This echo will go as well. That's also a miss. The echo will also swing then on Auriniel. Auriniel, you're in defensive.
Yes.
Is 14 good against you?
No.
Okay, so that's a miss from that. Then I'm going to burn. I hate to cast dreadful spells. I'm going to cast it on Sorendir. Sorendir, roll a song test, please. Very important song test, mind you.
I actually do good at song, though. Is this still ill-favored?
Everything for you, because you are dismayed, is ill-favored this fight.
How many dice do we have? Not 5?
No, we've got 2.
I am
All right,
bleeding
I'll take
the
one.
audience dry. It's a plunge.
Oh, that's such a satisfying sound there. So many dice.
Yeah. All ones.
Ah, shit.
No.
Roll double Sauron on my ill-favored.
No.
11.
Oh my gosh.
So it's not an auto fail, right? Because you're not was it miserable, is it? I always forget the conditions.
I'm weary. I am not miserable.
I think
so no, it's not an auto fail.
Yeah, it's miserable,
But
it's an auto fail.
because I'm weary, my 3s don't count. So it's just the 5 and the 4 left, which means I got a 9, which is a failure.
Sorendir, as you're screaming at Marambem to back away, as you're defending, you hear the sounds of something kind of whisper as if it's right in your ear, this cold, cold whisper. You hear elvish mixed with dark speech. You hear names and voices that are almost familiar to you, but haunting in some way. That weight of ice on your chest spreads. Your knees, your legs begin to shake. And all of you watch as Sorendir falls. Unconscious. However, oh, hang on, I did that wrong. Hang on, I'm sorry, I did that wrong. You need to. It's not a song test. We can roll with it if you want. It's not a song test. It's just a shadow defense. It's a wisdom defense. Song is what you do to rouse a person. My bad. That's my bad.
My wisdom and my song are the same anyway, so it would have been the same.
Okay, so you are unconscious. However, I will say anybody who wants to try to rouse Sorendir, he hasn't fallen like Floy has from physical wear and attrition. Sorendir has fallen under some sort of sorcery, and he is...
Well, couldn't he use one of our fellowship points to get favored if he rolled wisdom?
He rolled 2 Eyes of Sauron, so it wouldn't have mattered.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah. So he does fall. So anybody who wants to try to rouse him, you could try to roll a song test to make him waken early. Otherwise, he is asleep until it is over.
Did I take shadow points for that?
You do. In fact, you take 3.
You know, I started this session with 0 shadow points, and now I'm at 7.
You guys are in Angmar, in a fortress with sorcerers.
And
Terminator campaign next week.
I am now miserable.
Okay.
Oh,
But you're
goodness.
asleep. So there's now 2 people down on the ground. One is unconscious and has fallen. The elf and the dwarf right on top of each other. But then Talendil comes up and just very carefully pulls Floy out from underneath Sorendir and letting Sorendir just drop and fall. I don't hate you, Steven. I hate Sorendir. Okay. Next. So next up I think that's everybody. So we go back around. And so we've got Talendale right now is in the process of carrying Floy out of harm's way. So he's out. So we'll say Floy is now is rescued fireman style, thrown like a sack of potatoes over Talendale's shoulder. The old man is limping away. Pain. He's shouting for Marimbem, but he knows. He understands. Marimbem is screaming with rage. You hear her shout her daughter's name over and over. Like this is like she's in some sort of sort of berserk state, swinging away. She's making progress. This giant warden figure is wearing her down, but it too is looking worn. Iriniel, you're going toe to toe with the sorcerer. However, the sorcerer, it is very powerful, and it appears to be in better shape than you. So we'll go to Gilly and Iriniel. What would you two like to do? Stance-wise, I mean. Sorry.
Are we running or are we staying?
I'm unconscious.
Yeah.
But rule-wise, Gilly has to run for free before Irenial can even go into rearward and run for free. Just throwing that out there.
But we'd be leaving Marimbem and stuff too.
Better that some survive rather than none.
And remember, like I said, mechanically speaking, you can try to rouse Sorendir. You saw Sorendir kind of just fall strangely. It was weird. Not like Floyd. Floyd took a hit and fell. It made, he just kind of got knocked out by a blow from the warden. However, Sorendir, you saw him just sort of suddenly kind of look like he was in a trance. Legs began to shake, and then he just fell to the ground. So one of you can take as an action. I will say it as a secondary action. You can sing if you want to try to roll a song.
How many dice do we have?
Uno.
Oh my!
How are you with song?
Same as you.
Well, I am currently ill-favored because I am pending a bout of madness. So
Farah
better than
Drift.
me.
Farah Drift coming with support.
Thank you,
Five
thank
more.
you,
I'm gonna
thank you.
take a dice. And
We
I'm
now
gonna
have 6 total dice.
Okay,
So
Okay.
you know.
I'm still gonna spend a hope.
there you go.
To enact my true hearted to get 2 more.
Okay,
And now I'm going to roll song to try and rouse.
okay.
Okay. Did you spend a
I think
dice? or did you not?
True-hearted, I think would work on this. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. As this beautiful hobbit voice suddenly pierces through the icy winds in this room that are swirling and causing these creatures of the unseen to give form and shape from all this detritus.
Great success, Jeff.
Okay. Sorendir, what would you think would have been, what have you been dreaming about if you fell unconscious? What do you think What do you think would have been
I
going
was
through
having a
Sorender?
nightmare that I died and I was sent to the halls of Mandos,
You're in this,
where I am wandering for eternity.
and all you hear as you're wandering around these long, dark, empty halls, you just hear the sounds of clopping and something dragging in chains, and you never see the figure, but in the distance, silhouetted, that strange rider atop the large elk, dragging the petrified branch behind. You never see it up close. And just when you think that's the only sound that there is, you hear this beautiful voice, a song. You think maybe Lady of Forlon, your mother, something. And then suddenly it dawns on you, it's Gilly's voice once more. And your eyes open up. You're not standing, you're laying on the ground in this icy room. And it all floods back to you. The memories flood back to you. You look, you can see Floy is being carried out of this chamber on the shoulder of Talendil. You see Iriniel still holding her ground against the sorcerer. Marambem raging against this warden, and Gilly by the door of this chamber singing out to you, trying to rouse you.
And then you hear her say, I lied. We need you, Soren dear. Wake up. Please wake up. And she's just nearly weepy as she yells, we need to leave. We can't. We need to regroup. Marambem, we need to leave.
I will say Marambem is unlikely to listen. However, Sorendir is once more roused. That is your turn.
And
Did you
then-
have 11 now, Ashley? If you did want to take 5 or something.
I'll take
That's only
5
a
and-
secondary though, right?
The song was
Okay,
a
great.
secondary action. Yeah.
So
You do have to flee though, right? Like that's what Steven was saying, I think, in terms of the rules of the game.
So I'll take 5 attack and then I'll flee.
You cannot attack and flee if you're in
Yeah.
rearward. If you're in defensive, you
Okay.
have to attack without doing damage to like create some space for you to flee.
Okay. So she can either just choose to flee now freely, or she can stay and attack. Is that her choice?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
so that's your
Okay,
choice.
And if
actually.
she chooses to flee, then that gives someone else a chance to go into rearward and flee without attacking.
Okay, so then I'll
It's your
do
call.
that then. I'll flee. So
Okay.
someone else has the chance.
So you call out, you turn, and you follow Talendil out of the room. You see Floy still unconscious, blood
So, like,
dripping
sit
down,
under the other shoulder to try and help Talendil.
and you two start trudging up. Each of you trying to bear the weight of Floy back up to the icy face room where you saw all those different elves. Okay, it is now their turn. By the way, they get to go. The warden, I think, will continue to attack Marambem. I think that's what he's going to do. He only gets 1 attack as he is down a might. He will succeed once more. Marambem is not looking good, guys. And then the sorcerer will go back to just attacking Iriniel. Iriniel, you're in defensive.
Yes.
16.
Yes.
Okay. So take 5 points of damage. Second attack.
Are you still up?
It's a Gandalf. It's a miss.
Yes, I am.
Okay. That is the end of the two of them. Actually, sorry. The echoes. One will go onto Sorendir. I'll say you're still in defensive. You're fine. It's an 8. 12 on Iriniel. So both of them miss
Miss.
again. Okay. So we'll start the round with Gilly, Talendil, and Floy are no longer in the battle. They have fled. They are free. They are running. Left in the battle, in the room, we have Marambem, who, as much as you have tried, is just screaming out. It's impossible to get to her. You can try, but so far she hasn't been willing to listen to anyone's attempts. She is squaring down with the warden that took Floy out. One of these icy figures is sort of reaching down in its kind of zoetrope movement towards Sorendir. Ariniel, you have both the sorcerer and another one of these icy, grimy figures on you. So that's the two of you. What stances are you in?
So rules clarification, can we both go into rearward or only one of us
No,
can go into rearward at
Only
a time?
one of us can.
So we need to check something. Is that true now that you're outnumbered? You are outnumbered 4-3.
As long as it's not double. I think it said.
Okay.
More
Only
than
allowed
twice,
if the
yes,
total
'cause
number
I
of
did
doubles
just
is
look
more than
this up.
twice. Okay, perfect. Okay, so let's do this right. So yes, one of you can go into rearward. Aaron, thank you so much.
Arenial is
both?
Sorendir's fellowship focus. So he would not go into rearward first, I think. I think he would yell out, Drago, which means flee in Elvish. You are the only one who could lead the party to safety in a way I could not. Go.
You must follow. You must not tarry.
I will follow.
Then Arinia will move to rearward.
Okay.
And I think as we just talked about on Ashley's turn, I can't attack and run. So
Right. So what is going to happen? So we do stance selection comes first. So you guys do that. And then we do engagement and target selection. They now outnumber you. So now that they do, I assign opponents. I'm not going to change it. It's 2 and 2. Everything's fine. So I'm not actually going to change it. So even though you're in rearward, they're still going to, that's the stance. So you're in the process of leaving, but they can still, because of them outnumbering you, they can still close on you. So wait, let me just read this one more time. So Lore Master can assign one opponent to each unengaged hero fighting in a close combat stance. So far that's just Sorendir. Then for each remaining foe, the Lore Master chooses between a hero in close combat stance who is already engaged or letting the foe stand back, possibly to attack using a ranged weapon and therefore allowed to attack. Okay, so they don't stay on you in melee. The icy guys, so what I'll say is, if that's the case, if you start getting into rearward, the sorcerer will go towards Sorendir, and I will say the 2 echoes will go after you, Aureniel, as they can kind of. I have a flavored ranged attack, like a spear throw, but it's their ice. So the 2 of them will go onto Aureniel. The sorcerer and the warden will be on Sorendir since he's in close combat. That's right, fly you fools. Okay, so Sorendir, it's going to come to you first. You're in defensive stance, I believe.
Defensive, yes. And I am attempting to run still. So I need a double. Actually, we got some from Aaron. So
Aaron
I'm
just
change
dropped
that to
this.
favored.
Okay.
yes, we
I
have
need a
a
Gandalf.
lot. Would you like any
It's my
extra
O'Neill.
dice also?
An extra die I don't think would help me hit anyways, so it would be a waste. So I'm going to spend the 5 to turn it favored.
So from it, I think at this point you guys would know this by now, but the easier one to actually hit is most certainly the sorcerer. The warden has a weapon out that has been very frequently parrying the attacks of both Floy and Marimbim quite deftly and seems more skilled, whereas the sorcerer has been doing attacking with it, like Gandalf, in the sense can use the sword, but is also doing all these other things like with his icy hand and stuff like that. So a little easier to hit that one.
Okay, you talked me into it. I'll use one more for a bonus die.
Okay.
So I'm using 6 dice.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So you kind of thrust out towards the sorcerer.
I did get a 6 on the D6, and I rolled what my 5th, 6th are on. God.
But it's favored, you said.
I only rolled 1 die this time. To cancel out the ill favored, so it would just be
Yeah.
a normal straight roll.
Okay. What's your total?
6
It is a miss.
Oh my god.
and a Sauron.
And a Sauron. Once more, you
What is
see
up with my dice?
the fog again begin to fill the room. At this point, Floy and Gilly and Talondil are not affected by this, but the rest of you, the three of you that are still left in here, including Marambem, become even colder. The temperature decreases. You feel a weight now as your clothes, your armor begin to be worn down by this ice and grime. You start to see this discoloration on your blades and on any exposed rings of metal. And you see those painful spikes kind of start protruding out from various sections on your bodies. And another one of these creatures spawns right behind you, Sorendir. Again, they haven't done any damage. They've just been sort of in the way and kind of slowly causing the numbers to go in their favor. Okay, so we go then to Aurinial. It is your turn. What would you like to do?
So you can rule this however you want. Because we're using we can turn in the dice for an extra turn. Does that at all change the rules of you can only run after you haven't done something? You can totally say no. It still applies, and that's fine. And I will run.
I just, yeah.
That's fine. I will run.
I just think if the rule is specifically you can't have attacked, you can take it and do an extra action, but if it's an attack action,
I would say I don't know how much an extra, even if you got rid of one of these guys, there's still 4 more.
Okay. I am running and yelling again. We're leaving. We're leaving. Both of you. We are leaving. You will die.
Sorendir yells out, "I'm trying."
Okay. So does she successfully, you look at this, Steven, does she successfully flee then on her turn, which means I can't attack her if she's already successfully fled?
She would flee. She would be gone, yes.
You're out of the room. You hear the sounds of icicles crashing against the wall as you begin the incline. You see the trudging in the ice where Gilly's and Talondale's boots have already started to shave some of the ice, and you just follow them up. It is pitch black for you, Aurinial, because remember, Gilly had she had the lamp.
Yeah.
The lantern, I should say. So you're just kind of using that very close look, the feel, and just going up and running as best you can into darkness. Sorendir and Marambem, you're lingering back. It's very, very dark in here, but there are little bits of that flickering light. It's actually, and strangely enough, it's that icy fist that this sorcerer has that is giving off the only bit of light now left in the room now that Gilly is fully fled. So in the room, we've got Sorendir, we've got Marambem, and I have 5 different creatures to attack with because they haven't actually gone yet.
Oh yeah, you're attacking.
I haven't gone. Yeah, we're still in the round where you tried to attack and escape and failed.
Yep.
The warden will continue to attack Marambem. That's fine. And if I get a good blow, she's dead. I miss, actually. Marambem is alive. He's wounded because of Gilly, so he only gets the 1 attack. I will say that the sorcerer then will turn its attention to Sorendir. Sorendir, you're in defensive stance. I will do 1 sword, 1 touch. So we'll do the sword first. I have no hate to get extra die with. That is a 16 total, which I believe is still a miss for you because you're at 19.
19, yep.
And then the sword. That is another 16, just a different way to get there. Also a fail. So he is trying as best he can. Technically, they should get... Actually, no, I'm going to say the technically, they probably could have gotten an extra D6, but I'm going to let it go for this round. And then each of the small guys there will turn. I'll say one of them will go after... 2 of them will go after Marambem. Oh, God, that's good. Yeah. That's 2 6s and a 9. That's 21. That hits Marambem. Now, these actually don't do a lot of damage. Let me see. Yeah, these only do 4 points of damage with their attack. She's actually still up. But you can see Sorendir, even in the pale light, that she is... You can see she crumbles to the ground for a second, puts herself back up as she's determined. And then another one will swing at her. That's a miss. And then one more will swing at you. 10, 13, 14. Ugh, 2 ones. 14, it's going to be a miss. So I have missed. You're still alive. Round comes around. You are outnumbered 5-2. So you're now outnumbered 2-1.
So I cannot go into rearward because we're doubled, but even then there would have to be 2 adventurers in close combat for one person to be in rearward.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to stay in defensive to try and stay alive. I also cannot magical success my way out of this because I'm miserable with shadow points.
So wait, you can't, like, you're just stuck? You can't leave?
He's got to
I
get
have to keep trying to attack.
He's got to get a
out.
successful attack on a defensive stance. He has to hit with that, and then he
I
can
see.
potentially flee.
To make space. Okay.
Yep.
We have 15.
Should I go open to try and
So
get out?
that's your call. Do you? Yeah, it's entirely your call.
I'm gonna go open.
Why not?
That
Why-
extra die might help.
What about forward? You get an extra die for that.
No, but then it's an extra die coming back.
I get to go first though.
It's true.
I'll go forward.
But all of the things that attack you get a +1.
Yeah, grab your spear.
It is on the ground. You can pick it up at any point. It's right there. I've said this from the beginning. Hey, Gemini Factor, they are in a lot of trouble. Specifically, Sorendir. He might not make it out of here.
I'm going forward.
Okay. You are first then, my friend.
Because doesn't spears
And,
give you like extras if you succeed? Like, isn't it like a +3 instead of a +2?
You're talking about the extra successes, right? So, who's muted?
Oh, it looked like Steven was
I was
talking.
muted. Yeah,
Oh, my
I
bad.
was talking. So I'm gonna take. We have 5 audience dice still, right?
Yeah, we have 15, so you can.
All right.
take
I'm
5.
gonna spend 6 of them again.
Okay.
So I should get 3 d6s and a d12 here.
Okay. Oh, boy.
Oh, that's close. That's a 12.
What did you need?
I don't know. What did I need? I thought I was attacking the sorcerer.
Yeah, it's whatever your normal to hit
Oh,
is.
it's my strength.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
whatever your
shit.
normal attack is.
I thought you said the sorcerer was easier.
Well, he is
okay.
easier in that there's no parry penalty.
Yeah, my strength is a 14.
So you need a 14.
Yeah.
You swing out, you miss again. You try to step back, but as you turn to step back, one of these icy figures is right there. You smash into them, and you just can't quite make it. Plus, it's so dark, you're stumbling over the debris. You bump into the table, and you're once more cornered. Long enough for them to get an attack off. Warden will continue to attack Marimbim. Marimbim falls. This is a 22. She had 2 health left. You hear the sound of Marimbim's scream in pain. You hear her kind of cough a bit from the ground as she falls. You can't see her anymore, Sorendir, but you can hear her. Everything is extraordinarily dark. The only thing that's giving any light is just that icy fist, the touch, the glowing hand of the sorcerer. That's the only thing imbuing light, and it barely gives any. It's that same kind of icy green below. All of them are going to get to attack you now. I'm going to... It's not all of them. The Warden won't. The Warden already attacked. So the Echoes and the Sorcerer will go after you. All right. On the bright side, I don't have any more hate to burn to get extra bonus die, but you unfortunately were in forward stance this time, which means they get extra die. So we'll start.
Sorendir, was just scrambling and pushing away as wildly as he could, completely forgetting any sort of combat tactics he had.
First Echo. 12, 16. That's 12, 16, 19, 20 on the dot with 2 6s.
That's a hit.
No.
That is going to be, with the 2 6s, 12 points of damage.
Knockback.
Take knockback.
No.
This does mean that I will say, since you get knocked back, you jump onto you kind of clamber up onto the table. The others can't reach you, but you can hear them swarming. You can hear the sounds of the metal on the table begin to echo as other creatures now have kind of climbed on top of it. You see the swarming, that icy fist kind of glowing. And because of the knockback, I think you're okay. I just want to double check something really fast.
I thought you could still be attacked even with knockback.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. You have to spend your next action recovering your fighting position. Talk amongst yourselves for 2 seconds. I want to get it right because this could result in the death of a character, so I want to make sure this is right.
This is very, very, very bad.
Sorendir's seen worse.
What's going through Sorendir's
Many
mind
times.
right now?
He had that nightmare, and he awoke, and he feels like he's in the same nightmare. He still hears the clop clop. Whereas before he felt he couldn't get away from it, now he feels that it's becoming much, much closer. With every blow coming at him, he hears the clop, 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 clop.
It's the sound of the steps on this kind of metal map. I don't see anything that says they can't attack you either. So they're gonna pursue it. Next echo attacks you. You're good on that one. That's 3 1s. Third echo attacks you. It's gonna be close. 9, 11, 14, 17. It's a miss. I need a 19, right?
Correct.
You feel temporarily like you've gotten away, but then that the hand just kind of leaps out from the darkness with great alacrity, and you feel this coldness just wrench these fingers, just dig into the flesh of your shoulder. Icy touch. That's a Gandalf. That's a miss on the icy touch. Then the sword will come swinging from the darkness. You son of a bitch. That's an 18. Okay. You're alive for one more round.
Sorendir's just everyone.
What stance would you like to go in now?
Definitely defensive. I learned my lesson.
Okay.
As I'm digging through my bag for more dice.
Sadly, you have to spend this turn recovering your position as you've been stumbling.
Shit,
You could spend 5.
But you can spend 5. Thank you. That's correct.
Yeah, we have 9 left.
Here's the thing, though. I need to spend 5 to make it not ill-favored. So I probably shouldn't spend them now.
It's ambitious
I
thinking you're
don't
going
think
to
it's-
survive to
yeah.
5 another round. Though you in
I'm
defensive stance.
defensive.
You in
Yeah.
defensive stance is hard to hit. Yeah, it is hard to hit. Okay, it's your call.
I'm gonna
And
wait
you
and
can't
try to
just
spend those.
assume a rearward stance.
No, not without 2 other people in close combat.
All right. You are now surrounded by 5. As the warden steps up as well, I will have him swing first, as is custom. He only gets 1 attack. I rolled a Gandalf. Then I will have all of the icy guys attack. 18 again. God dang it. So close. Next icy thing. Sorry, that's 1 too many die. Let me reroll that. My bad. That's right. You're in defensive. 8, 11, 12. Oh my God, that's terrible. 6, that's an 8 on that roll. All right, so you've survived a warden.
Slippery.
You've survived all of these different echoes, these icy, grimy creatures. And once more, the icy, glowing hand comes out at you. It's hard to hit you, man. And I don't have... God, another Gandalf. And I don't have any hate. I spent all of it, so I can't spend any hate right now, or else I'm down to like 0 hate, and I gotta flee. Sword. It's no good. You survive another round.
This is just going to be the next hour of us just trying to get out. I'm going to stay in defensive this time.
Okay.
I need that Gandalf.
I do have a hate.
Do
I have a hate on the warden, so I can spend one on the warden next round.
I'm gonna spend the 6 audience dice again, dropping us down to 3. I think, right?
Correct.
You can spend hope too if you think anything applies to get 2 extra
He can't
dice.
'cause he's
Not
miserable.
on an,
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
Miserable.
exactly. And now,
Otherwise, I would spend a hope for my elven skill to just get an
Yeah,
automatic success.
I was like, why aren't you
Yeah.
doing your automatic success? Oh, because
Shit.
you're miserable. So you can't.
We've been complaining about how miserable Erebon / Sorendir have been this whole campaign. I love how that's what's preventing him from playing.
Well, y'all, I finally hit. I got a 14.
Okay, so you lunge out. You just basically
instead of attacking, you run away.
you just sort of like swing
Yes.
wildly at the glowing hand because that's the only thing you can see. And in doing so, you see it suddenly recoil as you kind of make contact with it, like with the blade, with the side of the blade, and you see it recoil back a bit, and that gives you a momentary glimpse as the hand kind of swirls around, and you can see where all of the creatures are, and you see a small crease between some of these icy figures, and you dart between it. You feel your boots slipping on the metal right over top of the kingdom of Arthedain as you look down. You hop off and you start retreating back. So you looked up the rules for this. You got a successful attack. So what happens now? What happens with my guys, my dudes?
I believe combat ends.
Yeah, he
because
can leave
we're
the
all out of
battlefield.
combat. Yeah, I'm out. That's my action, is to leave the combat.
And you
He doesn't
hear
do the attack. He just runs.
you hear the sounds of ice crashing behind you as they're like hurling all these different chunks of ice, these icicles at you. You hear the sound of that shadowy whisper, but you're able to kind of outpace it. It's where it fades and it fades and it fades. The rest of you, so we'll cut. We got Floyd, we got Gilly, Irinial. You quickly catch up with Gilly and Talendil, who are moving, carrying Floyd. And Irinial, you were just running, and you can see up ahead, before they get to the other side of this room with all of the faces, you're able to catch up. You look back, 1 heartbeat goes, 2 heartbeat goes, 3, 4, and it's just shadow in the distance. You don't see Sorendir coming. What do you guys do? Play it out. We know what happens. We know Sorendir got away, but what would you guys do as you're like waiting around at this point? No Marimbem, no Sorendir. They're not on your heels, Irinial. What would you guys do?
I would say Aurelial is just she's really battling with herself, that it's sort of this like numbers calculation in her head, that there's 4 of us here and 2 of us there, and going back isn't going to help. And so she's just it kind of has her sort out, but is just actually, to be fair, what should probably actually happen is about a menace.
Okay. What is that? And then what does that look like,
Actually,
Irinial? Yeah.
Let me. All right. So, okay. Her spiteful is what she's at.
Okay.
With Bout of Madness.
Mhm.
So she's just absolutely. Actually, would it be okay if the other 2 go first? And then I will
That's
kind
fine.
of play off what they're doing with my spitefulness.
Floyd's unconscious still. He's
Okay.
unconscious. Talendil's weary, and he's concerned about Marimben, but he's a ranger of the north. He understands what's happening. He understands his wife. But you can tell like he is concerned as he looks back. There's great concern on his face as he looks back. There's a desperation. Gilly, you hear him say, "She's not coming.
They have to make it.
She's not coming. The elf might, but shh.
She's so strong.
I've lived with her for months now, and I always knew. I always knew. She would die here. For every day we spent together these last months, I knew. I knew.
You should have never asked. I'm sorry.
It's not your fault, little one. It's not your fault. I was a husband. I am a husband. You can see he starts to take Floyd's arm off of his shoulder, and you see him start to draw his sword. And he looks to you, Aurenial, as you come stepping up. Get them out. And you see him start trudging, like he's been laboring something fierce. He dealt with basically a broken back. And you see him start to slowly step and trot and limp as he's going in the direction where you all just came from. He's going back for his wife.
Think you're doing, old man?
What I should have done. If I'm going to die, I'm going to die with my wife.
You're not going to die. No one else here is going to die. No. You turn that around. This is not.
He steps towards you. He puts a hand on your shoulder and he says, "In the war with the shadow, we always die."
We are losing the war with the shadow. We need people who know the shadow to fight the shadow. This is the coward's way out. This is not what you do. We already left one
Aurenial,
there. This is not
Aurenial,
what happens.
now is not the time.
Now
You need people
exactly
who know the shadow. That's you now. And he goes.
And Aurenial's just gonna turn to how did you let him go?
And mind you, looking at Gilly, who's bearing now the full weight of Floyd.
Cuts, bruises, blood. He's unconscious, covered in ice. You have to be really careful as you move him because he has all those icy spikes on him. Every time you move, you kind of feel yourself going to get pierced by one. And he kind of falls to the ground. And you've got your lantern. You've got Floyd. Floyd's on the ground. The two of you on the far side of this room of 100 faces. Lantern light in the ground. You hear the sounds of footsteps. Talendale's now gone.
How did you let him go?
Obviously, I was busy, and that's his decision to make. I'm tired of things being my fault. I'm not the only person who makes decisions, Aurenial.
We all have to make decisions, and this one, and she looks at Floyd.
Was not mine. This one was Talendale's.
And Aurenial sort of looked at Floyd, who mentioned in chat that he has 14 load of treasure on him. And Aurenial is just going to start tearing through Floyd's stuff.
Stop, be
selfish.
Careful. He's
He
injured.
is so selfish. We're entering a battle. We were not headed home. This was not the time. And she's just like pulling out what is this? How did this help us? Did this save Sorendir's life? And just chucks it and picks up the next thing. What was this? Did this save him? Did this save him from getting hurt?
What is your
No,
problem,
it
Aurenial?
didn't. Just
Go take
throws
a walk.
it. This is not. No. This didn't help either. And she just tears through just all of the stuff that he has, and she's just tossing it and throwing it just as far as it can go. None of this helped.
Do you
None
feel
of this
better?
was important. It's not what we're here for. We're not here to line our pockets with wealth. We're here to try to save people.
I don't understand why you're yelling at me like I was the one who's the problem. And I don't understand why you're treating our friend Floyd so roughly when he was there fighting with us and he got injured.
He's down. He can't even hear what I'm saying.
Do you not see him?
and he's covered in cuts and ice. You need to be careful. You could make his condition worse. I understand that you're frustrated and I'm terrified, and I don't even know if Sorendir's alive. Talendel just went to die, and we don't even know if Meribim's alive. What do you want from me, Auriniel?
Cut for a second as we now cut to Sorendir. As Gilly says, don't even know if Sorendir's alive. Sorendir, you are scrambling up this kind of like this incline that goes back up to the faces, but it's pure blackness in here. You can't see anything. And then suddenly you hear something. You hear the drag sound that you've heard multiple times. You hear the sounds of chains. You hear the clip, clop. That large elk. You see nothing. It's pure black. You're climbing, and these sounds assault your ears. What do you do? What do you think?
I can't see anything. I think I would still be holding my sword out, and I would just kind of let out a sigh of exhaustion. I would drop my sword. I would drop to my knees, and I would just wait, tired of running.
Wait. And it gets louder. The drag sound, closer and closer. The chains shaking. You feel coldness. Louder and louder. And then you feel something touch you on the shoulder. You feel a hand. You feel
immediately recoil.
And then you hear the voice of Talendale. You fool, get up! And you feel a tiny bit of warmth, and you look up and you see he's got a torch out. Get up, you fool! Go! Help them! Go!
Talon. She's...
Shut up and go.
I'll start walking away.
You see behind, as you like, one tiny little moment as the flickering firelight dwindles, and you hear him just sort of shout and charge. And then you see across the way as you emerge out into the room filled with 100 faces. You see the light on the other side. You see Floyd's body. You see Auriniel just throwing things left and right. You hear the sounds of the two of them fighting. Gilly, Auriniel, as you're shouting, you look over and you can see the contour of Sorendir emerging from the darkness, slowly getting closer to your lantern as the light begins to kind of bathe his body. Goes from just a silhouette to kind of a gray figure to now drenched in that kind of orange-yellow light of Gilly's lantern.
You can hear the sound of the sword, or Sorendir is just dragging the metal on the stone and ice. Just the tip of it trailing along behind him.
What do you guys do?
So I feel like Gilly's been like pleading with Auriniel, and Auriniel's just not like hearing it. But then like seeing Sorendir like come back through, like, you know, Auriniel's kind of mid like toss of something, and she sees, you know, Sorendir come through and just sort of finally hears Gilly. Like, she's just been so mad that like she wasn't really looking at Gilly, and so she just sort of looks back to Gilly and just sees what I'm guessing is just sort of like the pain on Gilly's face.
Exhaustion, disappointment.
And Auriniel will just sort of kind of take in a deep breath, and she'll just slump down and she'll just kind of start bawling.
Irinial, you start bawling. You hear the sobs of Irinial, all of you. Floyd, it's at this point you start to stir. You start to wake up. You're in extraordinary pain, but everything's kind of numb, and you hear the sounds of someone crying. You look up. You see Irinial, but then you realize it's not Irinial that you hear crying. You look at her, and like the sound doesn't link. You see the movement of her shoulders, and you look behind her, just where the light of the lantern reaches the ice of one of these elvish faces, and you realize that the face, I'm not sure if it's the light and the shadow kind of playing with it, that's where the sobbing is coming from. And then the face next to it does too, and then next to it, and then all of a sudden, the rest of you hear this as well, as a wave of echoing sobs begins to just cascade through this room. Every one of these icy, elvish faces weeping, one after the other, to the point where it becomes this horrific cacophony, and it hurts. Normally, the elvish voice is so beautiful, if somber, but here, just the chorus of tears. What do you guys want to do?
Sorendir drops and begins weeping as well.
Oh, looks at someone that's not going insane. Gilly, what's become of us?
I don't know. And she's gonna begin tending to your wounds as she kneels above you. We need to get out of this room.
Right. I'll try and gather up Sorendir and Irinial. Enough crying. I don't know what's happened, but you're alive. Let's go.
And Irinial will just kind of wipe her eyes and suppose it's good you're on your feet again. And she'll go over to Sorendir and kind of try to pull him up by the shoulder.
Give me a moment. No. Try to collect myself. Try to straighten my hair that's become frozen into a jumbled mess. Slowly stand up. I left my helm and my spear in that room. So I just sheathed my sword, straightened my leather corset that the elves gave me. What now? All is lost.
So we fled then. I see. Let's make our way out then.
And what? How have we helped my people?
We just need a rest and we need to recoup.
Not sure how to make sense of everything we've seen, but we've seen the seeds of all. We brought one back. We bring them more information than we left with. And
Information of ruin? What good is information?
Would it have been better if we all just died in there?
It might have been better if I died in there.
You're not allowed to speak about what would be good to happen to you because obviously you do not value yourself enough. And I'm sorry for saying mean things earlier. You really, all of you, I don't know what to do. We just need to rest and then we have stuff that we need to do. Okay? We can't just leave and stop. And sure, we're probably going to die here, but it's not going to be right now.
I should never have asked you to join me. This was not your quest to undertake. I've
This
led you
wasn't
all
your
to ruin.
decision to make either. Lady Otolos asked us all, and we all agreed that we were going to do this. Mind you, the whole room is still like loud and crying.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like extraordinary, but it's you can't you can't not hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like you're in a. It's almost like you're in a nursery where there's just dozens of crying babies, except it's not quite as angry of a sound, but it's sorrowful and it's eating away at you all. And those creatures, you have no idea whether or not they are bound to that room. And you all got up here in moments. There's nothing to say that they can't come up here either. With that in mind, you've had a couple moments of a breather. What do you do now?
I'm going to see that my things are kind of spewing all over the place. I'm going to pick them back up.
Oh, God.
Who tore these bags?
I don't know what happened, but let me just gather these real quick. But we got to go. You can grieve about it later.
Continue to see what is important to you.
You can tell me about it later, but we got to go.
Sorendir would walk over to the face of Lady Ortolos
Gotcha.
as she's weeping,
Mhm.
and he would tentatively just reach out a hand and wipe away the tears the best he can. Look at them and see that they freeze onto his fingers. We cannot leave. I cannot leave.
You cannot leave until you do what?
Until I find a way to save my people.
Do you want to take all of these? We do not know if they follow.
I do not know anything.
Gilly, you got keen eyes. You start to notice from the far end of the room where you all traveled down to that chamber, you can see kind of curling up onto the floor and into this room of faces, the fog, that kind of thick, icy fog that begins to slowly kind of pour and creep into the room and begins to sort of spread outward as if it's getting to the far edges of this room and is slowly beginning to pour into it.
We need to leave. The fog encroaches.
And with that, I will get out of this room.
Okay. Floy, you leave. You make it back to that one sort of intersection, that nexus point where there's basically 4 different routes. One that went back to like a higher level of the fortress. One that kind of veered off towards the room with the birds. One that went to this where you're at, where you just came from, and one that was kind of collapsed. Like there was a collapsed tunnel. You managed to also circumvent that collapse and see that it was that kind of torture chamber. So effectively you have 2 choices. You can go in the direction of that room with the birds and all of those different folk that were bowing, or you could go climb further up higher into the fortress.
I will go up higher.
Okay. Where are the rest of you?
Do we remember if there are any hallways we have not gone down?
There was one that you and Gilly saw that creature dragging around, that you turned. You remember you turned back. You saw the icy elk rider.
Which direction is that?
It's up one more flight.
The way Floyd's going?
Yeah.
Then I'll follow him.
Yeah, and Gilly goes too.
Okay. Aurenial?
Yeah, Aurenial will follow.
Okay. So you head on up. You don't see, Gilly, I presume you have your lantern out. You see no more signs of those figures encased in ice, those like the shadow and ice. Periodically, you see those alcoves, if you recall, that had the bone effigies. Those are still around. But you don't see any more. And you recall seeing several of these figures on your way down. They're not around anymore. They're gone. They've been moved or shattered or something. Eventually, you get back up towards kind of the entrance hall. You know that there was a very long, narrow stair from the door above that brought you down into this massive chamber with everything covered in ice and grime. You searched around a bit. You eventually found this route downward, but you did also find a room with a pit. And that's now where you stand. You can see it was a kind of a relatively circular room, and there was that large pit about 25 feet across or so. You look down in it, hold the lantern above it. There is almost like a pyramid. It's not perfectly pyramid-like, but there's a stacking of what looks like viscera of some kind covered in ice. Gilly, as you're standing here, you hear that crackling some more. No one else hears this. Gilly, you can't place exactly where it's coming from, but it's still kind of in your ear. You can travel back upwards. One more flight that would take you back towards sort of the landing room from the opening stair. Or, Gilly, Sorendir, you know that there is another route out of this pit that kind of goes in the direction where you saw that elk rider.
Gilly. Is that the hall where the doomsman of the Valar came from?
Yes.
He was coming for me down below. I heard him as I fled.
Okay. Do you want to go that way? I feel we need rest.
How can I rest?
How can you battle? We need you at your peak performance if we're going to be able to complete this mission. That goes for all of us.
When she says peak performance, I just wave her off and turn away.
No, I'm tired of you not listening to me. And Gilly's gonna tug on your cloak. I'm the one who deals with healing all of us, and none of us are in the condition to fight. We need to rest. I understand. I desperately want to help your people as well. You're not the only one. Why do you always think that you have to do stuff by yourself? This is so frustrating. We argued about this earlier. We're going to rest. All of you seem to look to me for decisions anyways, so I'm making this decision. And she snaps at Irenial.
Sorendir gives just the slightest smile. Yes, Captain.
Let's head up. Let's get some rest.
So you journey out. Does everyone follow?
Yes.
You work your way back to the next level. You find that opening room, the very first room you saw, covered in ice. You find the narrow stair, several flights back up, and eventually the door to Othrengul. You know the way to open it, and so you do. You hear the wind from the mountains of Angmar burst into the hallway. Your faces are hit with ice and snow, but you have left this place. And although you have ventured into the mountains of Angmar, it is lighter out here than it was below. we'll end here. Presume that you all find a cave of some kind to camp in. But we'll end here, and we'll pick up on this next time. All right?
All right.
Oh
Good
my
session.
goodness.
I almost had Sorendir. I was so close. It's hard to hit you when you're defensive, man.
It's hard to hit anything when I'm ill-favored.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
My dice, it wasn't entirely the ill-favored. My dice were just horrible. I was rolling like 5 and below the entire night.
That's a shame.
And
Except the occasional
shots.
11.
Yeah.
My voice is so messed up. That was me trying to pitch my voice up to Gilly's
Oh
voice.
no, I'm sorry.
It's
So
so
there's-
bad.
So there's two, like they're not conditions, but they are effects of certain, there's effects of certain fel abilities.
Mm.
Daunted and dismayed. Daunted, so like when you guys started the fight with the two of them, like each one of them basically got one, right? So it's either, so you could potentially suffer from both. Daunted means you can't spend hope in the fight. And then dismayed means everything's so favored. And so unfortunately, Sorendir, you failed
That's
that one.
awful,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
pretty rough.
Valor is my weakness.
Oh,
Quite literally, that would have been a TPK, I think, if not for the assistance of the audience. I think.
Or
I
I just
agree.
put that in chat.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only
yeah,
reason we're all
we
still
thought
here.
we'd be
Or-
dead.
We should have ran like 4 turns earlier.
Yeah, I think so too. You guys were. It was rough. It was pretty rough.
We should have ran before Floyd went down. I didn't realize how low he was.
Yeah. I mean, he's your main. You know, he does so much damage
Mhm.
that it's hard to because you
I
can
got
see.
some
He's,
wounds today though. That was
We
cool.
should have
Mhm.
known when he took knockback.
yeah,
Yeah, when I started-
That was our
I went to
side.
defensive mode. That was the signal.
yeah, exactly. Floyd goes into defense. Floyd's taking knockback and going to defensive. You guys are screwed.
Floyd's looking around at anybody care that I just switched? Anybody?
like,
no. Okay.
Nobody noticed. All right.
So you did lose your two
We did.
NPC friends, Mama,
Yeah,
Papa,
it's terrible.
Rangers. Talendil and Marimbem have passed.
I knew we were leading them to their deaths. I
Yeah.
even said that when we recruited them.
That was a possibility.
Definitely was a
Yeah.
possibility. Things could have gone better. If things could have gone better in the fight, then they could still be alive. But they didn't. So there's that. Okay. So why don't we do some little close and plugs here, and we'll get at it. So what do we got going? Monday, we are back to we are starting Call of Cthulhu. It is just going to be character creation. We're finally able to do it. It's holiday season and it's 6th season. Like, you
It's
know,
bonkers. Yeah.
so it's been difficult as we've had some issues pop up. Everyone's committed, confirmed. We're ready to go for character creation. The actual campaign probably won't start until I think early January, but I want to get the characters together so that we can kind of get some customization of some of the storylines to what we get. So come check us out, what we're doing for there, because we're eventually going to be doing Horror on the Orient Express, a classic campaign for Call of Cthulhu. Stephen, there was no Haunted West this Tuesday, but when are we back to Haunted West?
December 6th.
Okay.
Long and Jeff will be back there, and we've got 2 new cast members joining for the 3rd arc.
Yeah.
And we'll be wrapping it up by the end of the year. Should be a lot of fun.
Very cool.
Then on Friday next week, we've got Hunter as we are playing through our World of Darkness Chronicle. You can catch everyone here, plus our buddy Aaron, who popped in the chat for a little while earlier and helped everybody because they need it. They need it really, really bad.
Yes, we did.
And then,
Audience was great. As soon as we ran out, they gave us more.
yeah, just kept, yeah. Also, I think we're going to do in Hunter next week. So thanks to our friends at Norse Foundry, we're going to start doing some giveaways over the course leading up to the holidays and through the end of the year, I should say, through New Year's. So at least one stream per week, one of our games, we're going to be giving away a set of dice from Norse Foundry. There are going to be some limitations on that, but we'll talk about that when the time comes. But I think the first one we're planning is December 2nd with Hunter. So come check us out next Friday, and you can win yourself an awesome set of Norse Foundry dice. We all use them, and although Melissa has a lot of things to say about their shallowness, rest of us love them. So there's
I
that.
mean,
We're
to be
very
fair, I
happy
switched
to
through
be
about
there.
7 sets of dice, and not all of them were Norse Foundry tonight.
How dare you, sir?
Sorry, Eric.
And then obviously next Saturday we'll be back to Wondering, and we'll see where we go from here. See what happens. I'm very curious to see what your plans are.
Can we all agree to be nice to Gilly next session? Can
She
we
needs it.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time, okay?
So
It's like,
so
I have a bout of
emotional.
madness, and you're the one who is with me here. Oh boy,
Always end up being
Floyd
Gilly
was
nearby.
there, Okay,
that's
he
my-
was your victim.
Purge.
yeah. So thank you for everyone who hung out tonight. Thank you to everyone who threw out some bits to help the players. If you're watching this later on the YouTubes or listening to this from on the Waking of Angmar feed, thank you so much for doing so. Make sure if you get a chance, follow the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Lollygaggers. Follow the or subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just look for us, Adventures in Lollygagging on YouTube. So we'll see you next time. We're gonna raid our friends over at the Boys from Baltic Star and get you some more TTRPG goodness. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll catch you later. Bye bye.